And welcome back. Well, the pandemic has certainly turned our lives upside down, especially for families with school age children learning from home. So, our next guest says he's got help for teachers, parents, and students. Joining me now is international speaker, author, and my old improv comedy buddy. It's Joe Beckman. His new book is called Just Look Up. And today, he is sharing 5 life saving phrases every human needs to hear. Good morning to you, Joey.
Hi, Tiff. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I got your book right here. I love it. I've already been reading it. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
But I want you to take a step back first and just
Yeah.
tell people how you became a speaker. And you can really start with, how I taught you everything you knew about improv comedy.
Well, first and foremost, I did bring my notebook and a pen because I'm still learning from the great Tiff Ogle. So I'm
Right.
always a sponge anytime we're together. But my sort of journey into being a speaker was sort of atypical in that I was a pretty good athlete growing up, and sort of the path that was forged for me by sort of my family and by just sort of the gifts and the talents that I had with sports. And I had this, big vision that so many of us have of your name getting called under the Friday Night Lights and state championships and records and things like that. And then ninth grade year, I suffered a stress fracture in my lower back and was told that contact sports are no longer a possibility. And about a year later, after about 12 months of just utter sadness, I came across an opportunity to try out for our school musical. And I had no business in my mind trying out for that play. I thought everybody, I was going to fail. I thought I was going to get judged, but I did. And I got a part. And sort of ever since, I've been kind of going down that route of acting, performance. And sort of early on, I realized I wanted to take that gift of performing and really pair it up with working with kids. And so I started doing some children's theater around the Twin Cities, and then slowly but surely started making my way from that onto speaking. I worked for a nonprofit for many years, and for the last 6 years, I've been speaking in schools all over the United States.
Well, it's true. And I feel like that's even a humble way to say it because you've been at so many different places in front of so many kids groups. So I feel like you've really got your finger on the pulse of American kids because you're talking directly with them. So how does that then, in terms of releasing a book right now during a pandemic at this time in the world, why is now a good time?
I think it's an incredibly important time right now because although there are so many different things that are getting added to our plates as parents, as educators, as students, one thing we forget about is how important it is to reinforce that plate, right? That everything is putting out. I got some feedback from a principal that said, I'm not interested in buying this book because I just don't, my teachers have so many things on their plate. And my response was, but this is the thing that strengthens the plate. And if we can get strong plates and a strong foundation, we can continue to add different things on, and be able to, I think, take on the stresses and the different anxieties that life sometimes throws our way.
Well, your company, you've named it Happy Caveman. And this is something I love because you say, why Happy Caveman? You say to survive, cavemen relied heavily on their community. It's their connection to each other. And without the group, they were susceptible to predators and starvation. They needed each other. And I say that because in here you talk about human connection and you say there's no coincidence about the correlation of how low our human connection is right now and the rise in depression and anxiety. And is that something you're seeing all over the board with adults and students and even maybe teachers alike?
It's sort of alarming, the sort of numbers that have been shared with us through social science over the last 8 or 9 years. Ever since 2011, we've really seen an increase in everything you just talked about: anxiety, stress, mental health, and some of the symptoms that go along with that, including self-harm and unfortunately even suicide. And so the thing that I think is incredibly important to realize, however, through all of this, is that the students and the humans who are struggling with a lot of these things that we're talking about aren't your sort of typical off the beaten path fringe students that might have the earbuds in and the hood up and maybe checked out in the back of the room. It's, my kids and the people who are watching us, their kids. It's the star football player who just hasn't told anybody about it yet. And it's that really confident teacher that according to their students, they have it all together, but on the inside, they're struggling with so much of this stuff. And And so it's something that I think is incredibly important that we talk about, because it's really impacting so many different people from so many different walks of life.
I agree. You open up the book telling a story about Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. So I want to give that shout
Yes.
out to everybody here. And the title, Just Look Up, at first, you kind of wonder, oh, are we just supposed to be positive? But it's about looking up from our devices. I want you, however, to talk about what's your favorite chapter in the book. Where do you really connect with what you wrote?
Yeah, so there's five main phrases that I talk about. Love you, which is all about self-worth. Push through, which is about resilience. Just look up, human connection. Fail on, which is about the importance of failure and how we grow through that. And then the last chapter is actually my favorite. It's called Yay Toast. And it's really about slowing down and seeing the little things that make life amazing that we used to as a little kid. I talk about my little kiddo, my middle child. His name is Finn. And when he was 2, he would run downstairs and he would put the bread in the toaster, and he'd wait and wait and wait and watch and watch and watch. And the bread would cook and cook and cook, and it would pop out of the toaster. And he would raise his hands in the air like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, right? And then he would shriek as if he had just won the lottery. And I was always like, dude, it's just toast, right? And he was like, no, you idiot, it's a miracle. And it's like,
Yeah,
all
toast.
of us at times, yay toast, right? All of us at times used to see those little things that brought our heart so much joy, but in the busyness of everything and just kind of how the world feels more divided than ever, it can be really easy to slip into seeing and feeling just the negative. And so yay toast is about slowing down, and really stepping back into that childlike mindset that we all used to have, so that we can see the little things that make our hearts and our souls so much happier.
Absolutely. Will you make my soul happier? Hey, Joe, I love your face. Good to see you.
I love your face. You are awesome, Tiff. Thank you so much.
Here's the book. You got to pick up your copy. Just look up book.com by my buddy, Joe Beckman. Get a copy.